Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Morning.
Good? Come on, give us some numbers. Internal temperature, 7.8, 8.2. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you? Sorry, my name's Scott Glue. I'm one of the organisers at Morning Startup, and this is...
Hi, I'm Erin Clark, and I'm also one of the organisers of Morning Startup. And like Scott, I'm also a founder when I'm not organising Morning Startup.
But even when you are.
Even when I am.
And over there we've got Dave Newman. G'day, Dave. He's an organiser as well. And Nina is not here. She's in India, actually, vlogging her startup over there. So that's
Correct.
awesome. Anyway, we put Morning Startup on, rain, hail or shine, every 2 weeks so you can learn cool things. We'll have an interesting speaker. Today we've got the announcement of what's happening with Plus 8 in 2025. So that's going to be great. I can't wait to hear all about it. And we also have found a sundowner on the first Wednesday of every month, just trying to create events so that you guys can get to know each other and communicate all the stuff that we need for startup life.
And keep inspired for everyone who's already working on a startup or thinking about working on a startup.
Who is working on a startup right now? Raise your hands. Excellent. Majority of the room. Good to see. So, on that note, shameless plugs and announcements.
All right, there's a few people who know how this works. You can see they're sitting forward and thinking, yep. So if you're got something that you're looking for from the community, whether it's you're recruiting someone, looking for a developer, you've got an idea you want to test, what are some of the other great shameless plugs and announcements that we've had?
Look, just a shameless plug. This is what I do. Get on it. So who wants to go first? Like a 30-second sort of rundown.
I'll do a shameless plug, why not?
Let's go. Cool.
Hi everyone, I'm Oliver Barnes. We have a B2B SaaS platform that manages non-financial accounting from a risk point of view, number of ASX companies. Our shameless plug today is that we're out searching for the right CTO for our business to come in a co-founder format. So pretty exciting times. We've run the business now for 3 years, scaling up, pipeline of 100 companies and starting to get inquiries from overseas for what we do. Okay, thanks.
Fantastic. What's the name of the company?
Quantum.
Quantum.com.au?
Quantum. QTM-data.com. Unfortunately, Quantum's quite a popular domain.
All right, thanks for the clarification. Anyone else? Come on, shameless plugs. Awesome.
Hello everybody, my name is Alicia. I run a startup called Space Jump for the past 2 years. We do gaming and esports specific events, but we're currently going through and pivoting a little bit into creating a gaming focused co-working space and community hub. So I want to chat to anybody in the room who is a gamer. I'd love to just pick your brain as to what you'd like to get out of the space because, I'm building it for you.
Fantastic.
What was it called again? Space Jump.
Space Jump. Any gamers in the room?
Yay.
All right.
One more? Oh.
Okay, this is the first time for me actually. I am Sam from G Propel. It is called Green Propel, where road propels your vehicles, okay? You come with your car, any car, okay? Whether it is like a fuel car, like a gasoline car, petrol car, electrical car, hydrogen car also, okay? I will plug in like a tow bar, something underneath, which worth $500. And if I keep that on the road, my road, it start moving. It is an electrified road, okay? This is the new concept which never ever happened before. This is like a new evolution technology. It's far better than the EV because we are reducing the dead weight completely, half a ton in every Tesla. My Tesla is having half a ton of dead weight, which is only for the battery. That is no more required for this one because we are using the power as you go, okay? This can be used in mining, logistic, anything moving from A to B, okay? This is like a completely new type of technology. And I'm just looking for 30-meter trial run. We had a prototype and this was checked by a simulation checked by a PhD guy who is working in Toyota R&D department. And we are trying to do a 30-meter trial run in any backyard if someone is happy to support that, okay? So that is the thing. Once the ball starts rolling, we are happy, we within 12 years, we can able to beat Tesla, okay? That is our motivation, ultimate motivation, because it is having that much of advantages, okay? It is basically a unicorn, based on the technology, that's what I can say. I am a founder as well as the engineer of this company and having 30 years of experience in oil and gas and mining industry. Thank you, guys.
All right. Wow, thanks very much. Electrifying roads. Does anyone have a big backyard? Can put an electric road in the back of it?
I'm Sam, I'm from Biz365. I help people build apps. So if you want to build an app, come talk with me.
Awesome. Who needs an app? Hands.
I'm Zev. It's my first time here in a long time. And yeah, I've been working on a project called Pantry Pilot for a couple of years. The goal of Pantry Pilot is to help you accelerate your weekly shop. So yeah, look, I'm really just keen to get more users. So if anybody wants to do more cooking at home and you hate spending time shopping, give Pantry Pilot a go. Pantrypilot.com. Cool, thanks.
Pantrypilot.com, no .au. Fantastic.
Hi, this is Kamal. I'm a mechatronic engineer, and if you need any multidisciplinary engineering, I do 3D printing service, which means I can convert your dream into reality, physical objects. With multi-materials, multicolor technology, I can convert your any materials dream, like any physical products, into reality with my Guy Plus 3D printing service. Thank you.
Sounds like a challenge. Who's got some crazy
How
dreams?
are we going for time?
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up, but one more?
One more.
Hi guys, no advertisement. I'm engineer, construction engineer, just interesting to see how it works here. I have experience with startups overseas, so interesting to see and meet new people.
Fantastic. Welcome. Welcome to all of you, for those coming here for the first time. As I said, Founder Sundowner, first Wednesday of every month over at Other Side of Nowhere in West Leederville. See you there, it's good fun. Notice the big camera equipment up the back there. We are live streaming this to the regions thanks to JITSI, Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation. They run a whole bunch of cool programs, ways for investors, but definitely for startups. They give you $40,000, submit your application. It's called the Innovation Booster Grant. It's really good.
After the election.
After everything settles down. Yeah, that's right. We're in caretaker mode at the moment, which caused a few dramas, but never mind. Yeah, thank you very much to JITSI for renewing the live streaming over caretaker mode. But I've just got to say, perthvideo.com.au, I know we give a shout out to these guys every week, but there were some dramas over the last couple of weeks and we didn't think we were going to be able to live stream this session and the next few sessions because of the government changes and things. And Jürgen at Perth Video is just like, Scott, don't worry, I got you. I will sponsor the next few events. It's all good. We just want to make sure the show goes on. So as far as just a team of people to work with, perthvideo.com.au are amazing. They do live streaming at any event, so if you need that, that's all good. But they also do like promotional videos for your startup. So if you need anything like that, get on them. They're amazing.
Even weddings. When I saw that email, I was like, heck, they do an amazing array of stuff. And everything from really large clients to really small clients as well.
Yeah. Yep, and good prices too. Like, insane. Thank you, Perth Video. Woo, do it. Also go to that QR code if you want to watch the live stream while you're here. Why not?
Ammo. So if your business is looking to supercharge its marketing efforts, Ammo specialise in growth marketing for the startup community. But check out their With Growth podcast. Always really fascinating segments.
Absolutely. Beecham Group. So we've got Glenn in the audience. Do we have time for a Glenn tip of the day?
We always have a time for a Glenn.
Do you have an awesome tip? All right, let's do it.
Never eat yellow snow. There was a really good rugby quote where the guy said tomatoes are fruits or something like that as well. Our game was shit. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
15 seconds now.
Sorry. All right. Today's quick tip. I'll call it the 30-minute hack, meaning that when you hire someone, wait at least 30 minutes before you decide what you're going to do next with that particular candidate. What often happens is when you're sitting in a conversation with a client, usually within the first 15 minutes, you either fall in love or not. Don't. Follow your system, follow your process, take time to think and reflect, wait at least 30 minutes, make your notes, be objective, and then make your decision about what you're going to do next.
I like it. Sit and reflect. Thanks, Glenn.
Don't fall in love.
Heard it here first. If you don't know, Glenn runs Beecham Group. They're a recruitment company in Perth, so if you need talent, get around them. Thank you, Glenn, for supporting Morning Startup since the very beginning. And Keep Space, we've got some food at the back. We will have like half an hour of networking and stuff at the... So, yeah, help yourself to the food, and that's courtesy of Keep Space. They are...
A third-party logistics provider.
Correct. That's right. Who's in e-commerce, need to ship things around, physical goods, need warehousing.
You know you want to.
All right, good. Well, when you're in that space, when you are shipping things around, they've got a warehouse in Perth, warehouse in Melbourne, cool platform to manage it all. So, yeah, thank you, Keep Space. And Purpose Ventures. Who's got a coffee? Who got it for free at Joey Zaz's? All right, the word is out. So Purpose Ventures, they obviously help us stay caffeinated at Morning Startup. Just tell Joey Zaz's you're at Morning Startup. They'll give you a free coffee. And, yeah, who hasn't heard of Purpose Ventures? All right, we're all on it.
Beautiful. So Purpose Ventures, for those who haven't heard of Purpose Ventures, it's for if you're ready for funding. So it's a nice segue into Plus 8, because Plus 8 today is going to be talking about how do you get ready for funding. So this is if you're funding ready, and these guys are, Plus 8's a great program to help you through. If you're ready for funding, Purpose Ventures is here for you. And I believe they're the only primarily West Australian VC fund.
VC. There are a few others. Actually, Max, do you know if there are proper VCs other than Purpose?
They're the only official registered.
Only official registered VC. All right, cool. So they got money in the bank, ready to give you. Cool.
So for those on the live stream, Dave explained a lot about venture VC funds for us.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you, Derek, Kylie, and the team at Purpose Ventures for helping us out at Morning Startup, and a few other companies. Space Cube to run this beautiful place, put us up every 2 weeks. If you're not subscribed to Startup News, subscribe. That's where you can get your startup news from Perth startups. And Startup WA, there are body for lobbying to government. All of those cool programs that you saw from Jitsi, that's all thanks to the guys and the hard work at Startup WA, getting what we need known to government.
I hear we'll hear more about Plus 8 today.
Yeah, we'll just skip over that one, and we'll hear about it in the talk. Cool. There's a whole bunch of programs. If you want to scan the QR code, you can chat with a little AI thing and say, hey, I'm in ag tech, and that will lead you to the best program for you in Perth. So feel free to grab that QR. Cool. That's thanks to the guys at Mesh Points that put this together as well. So they're amazing, just tying together the ecosystem here in WA. And please get on slack.morningstartup.com. So in between morning startup sessions, we can have a chat. If you've got a question about startup life or anything.
Tell us what you're working on.
Yeah.
Tell us what you need. If you're not ready to get up in front of the audience and want to do your shameless plug, great place to get started.
That's right. Drop it in the Slack group. Cool. Contact us if you want to do a talk one day. We're always looking for great stories, great founders, and great talks. It is getting hot in here. We've turned the aircon on, by the way. Thanks, Dave. Yeah. Hopefully it cools down. In 2 weeks' time, we have Kate Harris, who I've just spotted in the audience. Woo! Don't have the details on meetup.com yet, but it is coming. Do you want to do a quick blurb about what you're going to talk about in 2 weeks? Just to put you on the spot.
So I've been working with startups for over 6 years now. So I've been in Perth for around about 5. And I saw a big challenge in the startup ecosystem and community around how performance and mindset really correlates. I actually ran a workshop for Empower Her last week, all on founder well-being. I'd like to call it a bit of a blend as opposed to a balance, and building sustainably. So I'll be going through and talking more about that.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Kate. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And that is formalities out of the way. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. All right. We'll get over to the main event, though. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Marcus Stan and Juliette Lucas, who are heading up the program for Plus 8 2025. If you haven't heard it, it's an accelerator. It's a really great accelerator here in WA. So without further ado, please welcome Juliette. Looks like you've got the first point.
While Juliette's starting, we've got a few seats at the front, so I don't think Juliette bites. So if a few people want to come down and grab the seats at the front, come get comfy.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, the Morning Startup team, to Scott, Dave, and Erin for putting this event together. And thank you for all of you. You are a really great number to come to this Plus 8 information session. Thank you to the people online too. Understand these early mornings, you want to stay at home and watch the recording. But yeah, we are really excited to launch the 9th year of the Plus 8 Accelerator program. Thanks to our supporting partners with Jetsy, with Better Labs, we have been able this year to secure 700,000 funding. So that's really cool. And we are also going to implement some change this year to support more early stage funders. So if you are pre-revenue too, this session is for you. And Marcus will give a bit more detail on what that's involved. But yeah, in terms of the team, so I'm Juliette. I've been working with SpaceCube on the community aspect and all the Plus 8 program delivery for almost 2 years now. 2 years since I arrived in Australia too. I'm from France. My accent is really easy to guess. Marcus will be the entrepreneur in residence this year. Marcus has been the CEO and founder of Helthengine and is now back for our own everyone's happiness into the tech supports ecosystem. He's also the entrepreneur in residence at Better Labs. He's the co-chair of SpaceCube. He's involved with Purpose Venture, and he's back with Plus 8 this year. So for those who don't really know SpaceCube, SpaceCube has been around for almost 13 years now. We have also Ophelie, acting CEO of SpaceCube, here today, and she's also going to be involved with Plus 8 this year. And SpaceCube goal is to empower and support change-maker, innovator businesses, and we do that through co-working space, as you are all at Reef today, and we have other co-working space in Perth and also in Sydney. And we do that so we empower change makers to with events and with programs too. So with Plus 8, we have the accelerator that we are going to be talking today, but we also do startup weekends. We do pre-accelerator. We have a Empower Her program for female founders. So we have a big range of programs for each stage of your entrepreneurial journey. Plus 8. So in some really great numbers, so since we started Plus 8 in 2016, we have invested more than 3.7 million in 51 startups, and all these 51 startups worth 187 million. And this is our portfolio. So you might recognize some really great names of startups, and we have really great success story over the 8 years. Now we have Plane Care. So Dave, just here, we were in the first cohort of Plus 8, and is now doing super great. He has an office just next to SpaceCube. He is also in Sydney, and they have a staff of like more than 70 people and looking to raise this year. And 4 of the startups have been backed by Purpose Venture, so we have been talking about them a lot already since this morning, but they are the largest WA VC funds, so they have been investing into Plane Care, Paperly, IT Academy, and recently Space2Co. And yeah, we had some startup who got the Innovator of the Year awards, and securing more funding. And we have last year cohorts. And thanks to the funding, they have been able to hire people, to make new partnerships, to develop their products. We have Corebox, who is going to the Silicon Valley in 1 month to pitch their startup. So we really have great stories over the 8 years of the program. Application key dates. So please, before you apply, make sure you can actually come to the dates and you are available for all these sessions. So the applications are open right now. We'll give a bit more detail on what it looks like. But we will be closing in a bit more than 2 weeks now, so end of March, 30th of March. And then we'll have the first selection, like kind of the selection step of the program, which is called the bootcamp. And the bootcamp will be over 2 days. We're kind of implementing a new structure this year to assess more early stage startups and give more feedback. So that's really good news for all of you guys, because we'll see more people at the bootcamp, and usually we have 25 people on 1 day. And the bootcamp is kind of a mini program in itself, where mentors and investors will deep delve into your startup, asking you more questions on your business model, on your traction, on your customer, also to understand more who you are, what's your purpose, and why are you actually building your idea. And leading to that, we have the program offer mid-April for a start of the phase 1 end of April. The phase 1 will run for about 2 months until the 19th of June. So during the phase 1, you have support, you'll have mass workshop, you'll have access to mentors, you'll have session with markers. And at the end of the phase 1, you will be pitching in front of the investors. So you will be pitching your business idea and the progress you've made during the whole phase 1, and then parts of the cohort will go into the phase 2. So during the phase 2, you'll still have the support, and you also have an international trip, and you have the funding, the big part of the phase 2, and you have the demo night. So demo night last year was at East Leisure, and we had more than 400 people coming to the event. So it's an amazing showcase and opportunity to pitch your idea. And concerning the international trip, last year we went to London. It's a bit grey on the picture, but it was actually a really sunny week for London in September. So this trip, the goal of this trip is to open the startup, show the startup a bigger ecosystem than we have in Perth, and show all the tips to expand your company. So this one was into the UK. And yeah, you are with the whole cohort during the week. Some partners. We had James from Better Labs also coming to the trip. So it's also really good for you to build a relation. And this year we are changing destination. So we're not going to the UK anymore, but we are going. If I say the Silicon Hills, what does it ring? Which destination? No. Austin. So, so this year we will be looking at the US markets. So we'll be going to Austin in Texas. Beside all the barbecue, we'll have like the tech ecosystem is really well developed there. And it's going to be amazing. Like there is also so many tech hub there. We have Google, Facebook, like so many great companies. So it's going to be an amazing experience and opportunity for the startups going there. And I'm going to head over to Marcus now.
Thanks, Juliette. Let me put this down here. Honestly, you had me at barbecue. In Austin. Hey guys, good morning. Just wanted to quickly acknowledge Jetsy and our funding partners again, because without them we wouldn't be able to run this program, certainly in the way that we do. Show of hands, who are our founders in the room? Just let me have a quick look. Yep, awesome. About 2006, I started as a founder on this exact same journey being in a startup is hard, right? In 2006, we didn't have accelerator programs, we didn't have co-working spaces, we didn't have half the support we have now. And I wish I did, because I made a lot of mistakes, I made a lot of learnings, and partly why I'm still involved in trying to help the startup ecosystem is because I think those learnings are easily transferable to pretty much any startup, because it's about you, it's about founders. And startups will change, your idea will change, the markets will change, but you will grow if you spend the time to actually invest in yourself to do things like this, where you grow and you be part of a community that will support you, okay? So part of the reason why I'm involved with Plus 8, I started off in my lounge room in 2006. I grew, I'm a doctor by background, for some of you who don't know. I'm not technical, so I needed a CTO, I needed all that sort of stuff. And I was able to, strangely, grow a business out of Perth, against the odds in many ways. That's a national business, millions of people using the platform. Healthengine is something that, as a group that's raised quite a lot of money from venture capital particularly. Now I'm on the other side. I'm actually on the Better Lab side, where we're doing some investments through our fund and through our venture studios, but also through Purpose Ventures, which I've just started as the operating partner there. So I'm actually getting much more involved in the investment side. We've taken money from corporate venture, we've taken money from family offices, from high net worth individuals, from groups like Cutier, who are sort of the Silicon Valley type of, sort of venture capital funds. And every investor has different things, and to sort of look at in terms of criteria. And I'd like to be able to think that I can bring some of that, the investor side as much as the founder side to it, so that you have lots of different perspectives. All right, so hopefully that's me, just to give you a quick sense. I know Morning Startup had this thing as part of the invite for this thing where I have no need for an introduction. I kind of think I do, but that's all right. Thanks. So who should apply? In short, the answer is everyone, okay? Because of the funding and the support that we get from Jetsy, we're in a place where we're committed to actually helping as many people in the startup ecosystem here in Perth as we can. If we can get you and your idea in front of people who know exactly how to help you move forward, that's a win. And there's many people as we can get into the pipeline. That's our commitment for this year. We also know that we're in an environment now where we're in the 9th year of this program, and sometimes as things move and the environment changes, you need to adapt. And we've decided to take a stance where we're going to be much more agile in the way that we run this program. So a lot of it's about making sure that we meet you at where you are at, rather than us bringing a program that's pre-canned. And we talk about international trips and global expansion, that sort of thing. Maybe that's not what you want to do, but that's okay. You can still get value from being part of this program. So who's part of this program? 2 streams. We've got pre-revenue streams. So we've got what sometimes in venture we call pre-seed sort of people who are got an idea, maybe a very simple prototype, and they haven't necessarily delivered any revenue yet. But that's okay, because we've got a stream for you. And then the other stream 2, will be those who are more in that what we call seed stage, who are early, but they're now generating a little bit of early revenue. They've got a little bit of product market fit, but they're looking to sort of understand how to grow that business. And so those 2 streams are where I suspect everybody in this room will qualify for. So why should you apply? Good question. Juliette's kind of mentioned that we've got access to at least $700,000 worth of funding. We are working on potentially getting more, but you'll have at least access to $700,000 worth of funding. And so that's exciting. The weekly workshops are going to be much more collaborative this year. A lot of it's going to be around community building and crowdsourcing sort of lessons from lots of different people, not just one person delivering something at the front of the room. I think that one person's doing a masterclass is useful, it's helpful, but it's not necessarily going to give everybody, as I said, the customised experience that we're kind of looking for. So the weekly workshops is where you'll get some value. Our mentor network, I'll talk a bit about that in a second. The international immersion trip, as I said, she had me at barbecue. We had a fantastic time. I know James and his karaoke was amazing. No, we really had an amazing time. I think Austin's going to be pretty interesting. Obviously, there's some interesting stuff happening in that part of the world. It'd be great to just see firsthand what's going on. Co-working, as part of the deal, you'll get, if you do get into the Plus 8 program, you will get access to the space. And we've got an incredible alumni network. A few of them are actually in the room. So, actually, we've got quite a lot in the room. So amazing. So thanks for being here, guys. But we will, if you do get in through this program, you will end up having not just the pedigree and the reputation of being part of this very, very well-regarded program, but you'll also have access to the mentors and the various people pretty much forever. I'm still currently helping Plus 8 alumni people sort of work through, even after the program, work through their capital raising and all sorts of stuff. So, this is a really important network to be part of. Right, who's heard of ESIC? Yeah, 3 hands. This program has been going for almost 10 years. It's an incredibly important program to understand if you are an early stage investment company, where if you qualify for this program, it allows you to unlock investments in a way that incentivizes investors to want to put money in you, where if you didn't qualify, it's just not as attractive, right? So that's the reason. So if you're an investor in the room, it's worthwhile noting about this, because a lot of investors aren't aware of this and haven't taken advantage of this. Basically what it says is that as an investor, if you invest in an early stage innovation company, and we'll talk about what that looks like and how you qualify for that, this program allows, it's a tax incentive basically, it allows you, if you invest up to $1 million, you can get back $200,000 almost immediately in your tax return, right? So that it's $200,000, up to $200,000 is tax deductible. I want to caveat what I'm saying here today, because I'm not a tax lawyer, I'm not a tax accountant, so go and clarify this, because there's a lot of detail in this, but at the high level, this is something that you want to look into as an investor in especially early stage businesses. How do you qualify as an early stage innovation company? I've almost taken this word for word off the ATO website. So what you need to do is you need to be an Australian company. You can't have had $1 million worth of expenses. You can't have more than $200,000 worth of revenue, and you can't be listed on a stock exchange. That just allows you to meet the first hurdle. The second hurdle, and this is where Plus 8 comes in, is that you need to meet either a 100-point innovation test or a principles-based innovation test. I'm not going to go through the principles innovation test because that's not as relevant. It's actually a harder pathway to get through. The 100-point innovation test is the bit where it's relevant to us. This is absolutely a screenshot just from the ATO, okay? So this 50-point thing, so being a participant or a graduate from a qualified accelerator program, which is what Plus 8 is, qualifies you to meet basically half the requirement to get to your 100 points, okay? So that's why, if you are part of Plus 8, this is something that will allow you to attract more investors over time, because it'll make you more tax-friendly, right? So if that's something that is valuable to you, just look into it. Again, not an accountant, not a lawyer, so look into it yourself, all right? Okay, so in terms of content, this is not what you're necessarily going to get, but this is what's been delivered into the last 8 years. What our commitment is to you is, as I said, we're going to try and customise, depending on who gets into the cohort, what's going to be useful for you. We know that the world is changing. We know that AI has come and has really changed the benchmarks and what's doable, what's possible, the benchmarks on how quick something can be done, how affordable something can be. And so we want to make sure that we bring to you the latest information that allow you to run your business, not go back to 8 years ago when things maybe weren't quite as relevant. Okay, so we're going to try and contemporise a lot of this content, and as I said, a lot of this is going to be crowdsourced in the sense that people who in the community will be able to put their hands up and say, hey, look, we've had some experience with this, we want to be able to share it, all right? So product development, team building, funding, marketing and sales, scaling, pitch prep. We will spend a lot of time on pitch prep. There is a reason why we do this. We know that the success of a startup is very much about being able to build the muscle on being able to influence and sell. If you can't sell your idea, you can't sell the solution that you've got, you can't sell the product that you've got or the service that you've got no chance, right? And you're in an innovation space where people are often needing to be educated about what is going to be different and why you're better and why they need to change. That requires you to persuade and influence. So getting that muscle built, which is why we focus so much on pitching, is really, really important. If you can't clearly communicate exactly what it is that you're up about, you're going to lose, right? So that's part of why we focus so much on that. Mentors. Again, we used to have a whole bunch of mentors, amazing mentors, that were kind of pre-canned for the program. We're kind of more trying to be a little bit more agile again. And with our mentor network, depending on who we have in the cohort, we're going to try and match it a little bit more closely. We're going to try and open up the Rolodex so that you can kind of pick and choose who you think you're going to resonate with, rather than us trying to pigeonhole a specific mentor to you, because we've had some feedback. We've taken that feedback. The mentors are great, but sometimes the match isn't quite 100%. So we're going to rely on you guys to decide on what's going to be the best match for you, but we're going to try and open up the Rolodex. And the Rolodex isn't going to be just local. We're going to hopefully open up national, but also global. Okay, so again, we're trying to make things a little bit more customised. Just a couple of application tips. This is more kind of, for those who, I don't know, anyone's actually applied yet already? Yeah, okay, we've got some very excited people to do this. That's great. Just make sure that when you do it, this process shouldn't take much more than an hour, right? It's really lightweight in that sense. If you don't actually know the answer to some of the questions, just say I don't know. Don't make it up. Don't go to ChatGPT to try and to drum something up that is just going to be made up. It's fine to say you don't know. We are also going to assume that we don't know. Just assume we don't know your business. Right? I know some of you guys have probably been in the ecosystem a long time, but if you're applying, just assume that we don't know your business and try to answer as many questions as you can. Certainly the mandatory ones, you can't get through the form without them. One thing from last year that we've taken feedback on that we've changed is that we've actually taken away the mandatory video. Some people said to us, look, they really struggled, they took a long time to do the video. It's optional. Obviously, we love to see people's videos because it gives us a better opportunity. It gives you another opportunity to basically pitch and impress us as to who you are. But as Juliette sort of mentioned, we've got this bootcamp process now where we're going to try and get more people through to actually show us who they are and give you other ways of demonstrating, your team and how good you are without having to kind of pre-can a video. I know it's sometimes awkward for people to do videos. I hate doing videos. So, if that's something that was an impediment in the past, that shouldn't be an impediment this year, all right? Keep it interesting. Yeah. Okay. So, what are we looking for in terms of, who are likely to be the people who are going to get through? We care about big markets. Fundamentally, as was mentioned, we are about trying to help people raise more capital going forward. We're trying to prepare them for the future. And a lot of the venture capital side of things is about funding companies that are looking to attack big problems in markets that are big. So it's all about adding value and adding impact. And if we're solving big problems, that's more likely to be the case. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a global day one business, although obviously global businesses are interesting and can add a lot of value. You can obviously just start locally, and obviously as part of the Accelerator program, we'll actually be challenging you about, look, which markets are the right markets for you, which are the markets that we can actually help you get into that maybe you didn't think you could get into before, and we'll try to stretch you and stretch your business in a way that will allow you to maybe grow in a way that you hadn't thought of. So big markets, big impact, think about that. The other thing is we're looking for founders who are very ambitious, who are keen to grow big businesses. That's not to say that a lifestyle business is bad or anything like that. It's more just to say that right now we've got a model that is more geared towards helping people who are looking to grow big businesses. How's that? How can we help you to do that? And so we're looking for founding teams that usually have 3 avatars. They've got the sort of a founding team that has a domain sort of understanding of the problem, so domain experts in that team. We're looking for people who can build a solution to that problem and people who can scale that, usually through some sort of commercial expertise in some way, okay? It's unusual, not that many Mark Zuckerbergs in the world where you've got domain, you've got you understand the problem, you're going to be the person that builds it and can scale it. Those are unicorns, so we don't expect everybody to have all those skills in the one person. But if you are a sole founder, and we did have actually some excellent sole founders in our last program, it doesn't preclude you. But in some ways, you've got to start to demonstrate to us, how do you build a team around you? Because you can't do it all yourself. It doesn't matter how skilled you are. You've got to be able to work with others. And if you can't demonstrate to us that you can actually do that by building great cultures, by having ability to empower others, having leadership skills, sure, you can develop that in our program. We'll certainly help you do that, but we certainly try to look for teams that are more fully fledged in that sense, so that it's less of a road, right? And the last thing, and I'd argue the most important thing, I know a lot of VCs will talk about we invest in good people and we invest in good teams, and that's kind of true, obviously. But actually, the truth is that even if you're the ugliest looking team, if you've got traction, that means a lot. Okay, we will look at traction probably as the number one thing, only in the sense that we all care about product market fit. It's hard to get product market fit, and if you haven't got any ability to demonstrate that the market actually wants what you are selling, it's kind of a hard thing, no matter how well qualified you are, right? So we do care about traction. That is, as I said, not to say that coming in with an idea is going to stop you from getting in the program. So that's why we do have the 2 streams around pre-revenue and revenue. If you don't have revenue though, it'd be great to sort of look at, well, what have you done around validation? Show us what you've done in terms of how many interviews you've done, how many people have actually said they'd be willing to buy it, even if you haven't got a product yet. You know, those sorts of traction metrics that isn't revenue, okay? So traction's really important. And again, if you've got, you know, people rushing to buy your stuff, that's going to be something that you should demonstrate, and we're keen to hear that. Oh, big hands. All right. This is really just a slide just to say there are a couple of things where if you're going to take money from investors, which is this is what distinguishes this accelerator program from pretty much every other program that you're going to likely see, is that you're going to get a substantive amount of money. It's, you know, for phase one, the stream one sort of guys who are more at idea stage, we're saying that we're probably going to contribute up to $50,000. And for the phase two, up to 100 plus. So it just depends on where you're at. Sometimes we don't want to give you more money than you really need because right now you're still in early idea stage. And part of that is that we're going to introduce you to a whole bunch of investors that are now going to join your cap table. And so in that, you've now got obligations. And so what this is that there are agreements that are part of the program that before you go and join the program, knowing that you're going to end up doing this program and effectively take money, we want to make sure that you're aware that there are certain agreements that you're going to sign up to. And some of these agreements will look really, really bad if you've never seen funding agreements before, in the sense that, oh, I've got this obligation, I've got to tell people about this, I've got to ask them for approval for that. These are actually very lightweight compared to, ask Dave, right, they're very lightweight compared to if you're going to raise from, you know, VCs and people who are much more external and much more professional investors. They're going to ask for much more control or much more, you know, sort of visibility. And so these are the sorts of things that will prepare you for taking venture capital sort of money, right? So to give you a little bit more detail, there's two things that I'm talking about. So the first thing is a safe note. Who's familiar with what a safe note is? Yeah. Okay. For those who don't know, it's the term SAFE is, the acronym is a simple agreement for future equity. So what it is really just a simple thing to say, we don't know what your company's worth right now because it's fairly early, but what we're going to do is we're going to put money into you, and at a certain point in time, usually 2 years or more, if you haven't raised money in 2 years, we're going to value your company at a certain thing, right? And that will be what I think will be 2 million for the stage 2 businesses and 1 million for the stage 1 businesses. So that what we call a fallback valuation is that if you haven't raised a qualifying round in 2 years, then it'll be either 1 million or 2 million, depending on which stage you came in at, right? The investors in Plus Eight, because they've come in very early, they need to get a premium for the risk that they're taking early on. So if after 2 years you haven't actually raised, they're you know, going to want to make sure that they get some valuation. They want to make sure that they get some equity for what it is that you've done. And so that's part of the reason for that. And the other thing is that part of the deal is that they also get a 25% uplift. So to give you an example, if you get $100,000 from Plus Eight, from the investor pool, they'll get an equivalent of $125,000 in the next round, whenever you're, you know, however you've done that. So, and a qualifying round tends to look a lot like you've got to raise, I think it's $200,000 from a sophisticated investor group that have priced it properly, right? So that's the current thing. Lots of detail. We've got Q&A at the end of this. If you've got more questions, we can answer it. But, you know, there is the detail there. But at high level, hopefully you understand that there are some funding agreements associated with that. The second thing are what we call sort of rights around certain decisions. So there are certain things where they're called consent items, which will allow us as Plus Eight, as a program and as the investor pool, to ensure that we're looking after you when you make some decisions. Unfortunately, most of the mistakes I made was around what you don't know, right? We're going through a journey. It's not our full-time job sometimes, or it's not something that's our backgrounds. And sometimes we sign up to stuff or we do stuff that actually hurts us. There's a whole bunch of investors in the background who don't want that to happen, obviously. We don't want you to fall off a cliff unknowingly. And so some of these consent items are more around things that are more likely to catch you up. And so it'd be just nice to run it past us and say, yep, that's cool, you're doing the right thing. And that actually, as I said, it's more of a protection for pretty much everyone. So those consent items, we can go through in a little bit more detail, but you know, just to give you a sense that there are a couple of those things. And again, they're much more lightweight than what you'd get if, say, you had a genuine sort of venture capital fund actually invest in you. What else do I need to know? I think that's it. This is not a flying boat. This is it does look like a flying boat though. It's just to say, as part of the program, it is a pretty intense program, right? It's pretty much 6 months of you working solidly on your idea, and necessarily so. It's hard enough when you're trying to do it full-time. Trying to do it part-time is hard, right? You'll get sort of part-time results and the lack of focus. We're not saying that you absolutely must do this full-time. It'd be nice if you did, because we understand that sometimes these ideas, they're still nascent and you've still got to pay bills and stuff like that. But recognise that through the program, it's going to be heavy. Trying to run two things at the same time may not be easy. So at least if you've got a co-founding team of at least one person that can attend the program in a more sort of full-time capacity, that would be great. We've got one day that's allocated, usually a Thursday, to Plus 8. But of course, there's all sorts of other work outside of that. We would like you to be able to self-fund through this program, because the funds that you get from the investment cannot be used to paying founder salaries. And it can't be used to pay down debt and that sort of stuff as well, but primarily it can't be used to pay founder salaries. So if that's the case, you need to be able to fund yourself at least through to maybe another funding round. So just to let you know that that's something that's kind of an expectation around your participation and your commitment to this program. Right, questions? Juliette, you want to come and join us? Any? Yep, Ollie.
Do you capital raise while you go through the program?
Look, I suppose theoretically you could. It's not something that we would recommend. And part of the reason why is that if you do the capital raise in the middle of the program, I suspect you'll probably leave money on the table, because there's probably chances that throughout the program you're going to get stuff that'll help you do your capital raise and get you either a better valuation or whatever. So I wouldn't consider, unless obviously if you're running out of money, right, and you've got no other choice. Trust me, I've had to capital raise in the middle of a capital raise because the capital raising process went too long, right? And we've raised close to $80 million, right? So so I've been in a lot of capital raising processes. It's hard. So sometimes you've got to do what you've got to do, but work with us. If you're in that program and you think that that's a situation you find yourself in, our job is to problem solve for you and help you troubleshoot the situation you're in. I suspect though that we can help you without you having to capital raise. There'll be other ways, other creative ways of doing it. But yeah, come to us, talk to us. Yeah.
I'm just going to take the mic over for the questions for the live stream. Cheers. One over here.
This is sort of a question maybe a bit relevant to me, and I hate when people from the audience do it, but I really want to know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm looking at sort of doing a national company. Is that something that you guys still want to look at, or because I don't think that we could scale to international, but I think national is definitely something I'd want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, making impact is a relative concept. You can make an impact in a very narrow niche and be still very, very commercially, very viable and very, very profitable. So, or at least grow very quickly and still be, can create great value for lots of different people. Healthengine, as an example, we're a national business. We're not an international business. We had aspirations to grow through acquisition, maybe internationally, but that doesn't mean that we had to have an international business from day one. And we managed to attract investment from Cutier, right? So, it is possible, absolutely, to be looking at running just a national business, because strangely, when you get access to different markets and different ideas, different products, you might go, actually, this isn't just a national business anymore. We do have the ambition and the ability to go internationally. But I understand the focus, and that's fine. So, yeah, not a problem at all. Yeah.
Hello. So I run a media production company, so I offer services in filming for advertising, films. I'm planning my first feature at the moment. So do you think it would be all right for me to use that funding for the feature film as well and have the investors as executive producers?
That'd be an unusual model. I think normally what we'd do is we'd normally be investing in companies that are doing innovative stuff, in the sense of, we're doing something that no one's ever done before. So creating films is probably outside of where we would tend to select companies in. Hey, look, I don't know. This film might be incredibly innovative. I really don't know. Or maybe using an interesting technology that you've developed to actually create the film. A lot of it's in the detail. That's why we're going to encourage everybody to apply, because the easier thing for us to do is just to filter through. And I was going to say that one of the commitments I've made to this program, despite the fact that despite the fact that this is a lot of work for me personally, is that I'm going to try and provide feedback to everyone who applies, no matter how far they get through the program. And there will be constructive feedback. It won't be, this is a terrible idea, you shouldn't do it. That's not for me to say, that's for the market to say, right? There are some really crazy ideas that have gotten off the ground that have been amazing, so Airbnb being one of them, like who would have thought, right? But, so in this situation, I think films, I think are going to be a tough ask for this program. But again, it depends on what's sitting outside of it. If you've got a fantastic, amazing new tech that you're applying to build this, to film this thing, maybe we consider that, right? So anyway, thanks.
I just remember you mentioned that one of the selection criteria is big market, big impact. So I was just wondering, is program industry or sector agnostic, or some industrial sector may be more preferred or have higher chance to be selected than others?
Yeah, that's a great question. So obviously when I first started last year, so this is my second year in this program, when people heard, oh, hey, I'm the doctor and I'm the health guy, like we got a lot of applications in health. The program is agnostic, right? I'm not the person who's going to be the guru for everything. I know this, everybody knows this. I'm the head mentor, if you like. I'm here. Part of my job is to ensure that you get the right people in front of you. So if I can't answer your question, or if I'm not asking you the right questions, my natural leaning will be to find somebody that can help you in your sector. So there's definitely, it's agnostic for sure. Obviously, there are going to be certain things that in WA, and by the way, we get applicants from outside of WA. Last year, Coursebox, Travis was one of the co-founders, actually moved here from South Australia to be part of this program. So it doesn't have to be a local business necessarily, or local founders for that matter. And certainly the sectors that we think we can help with. That's why I want to try and open up the mentor network to be more international in some cases, because some of the things that you're working on may not be resident here. We don't have the expertise, so we want to try and open that up. So yeah, if you've got something cool and interesting, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, kind of answered my question. I was going to ask, hardware startups, has many applied in the past, and how many do you take on per cohort?
Look, I think honestly we tend to get more software startups, to be honest, and that's probably a function of the types of people that are sort of growing that sort of thing and seeing this program that can help them, and probably also because of the mentors and stuff like that. In saying that, last year we had Edible Cutlery. So Edible Cutlery is in that sort of space where they're manufacturing. It's not hardware as such, but it is kind of hardware. So they're in manufacturing and so on. So we can definitely take those sorts of startups in, and again, I'll be looking to try and surround that type of startup with the right people. Interestingly, at Better Labs, we've got a company called Willow, and they're in the hardware space. They've actually built quite an interesting capability and learnings around hardware. So I'll be leaning probably on some of the Willow guys if you've got that. But we've got quite a strong network of hardware people within the mentor network, so we can definitely surround people, the right team with hardware expertise for sure.
Hi, thank you for sharing your program, for providing these opportunities. And how about investment? Are you providing option for investors to invest through your accelerator to invest in startups? And what is minimum amount?
I'm glad you asked. So we're in the process of, as I said, closing down who are going to be the final funding partners for the program. In some ways, I'm actually kind of waiting for I'd love to wait to see who the cohort is, because in some ways it'd be nice to actually have investors who understand and want to fund certain types of startups like hardware and that sort of thing, right? So, secretly, I haven't told the rest of the team that. I'd love to be able to bring in other investors who've got that sort of expertise and can add value as part of the funding partner group. So if you're interested in that, come talk to us. We are, still open for partners to come in. And we're also in the process of exploring things like sidecar funds. So, the ability to co-invest in some of the startups that are coming out of Plus 8, we're going to try and open some of that up potentially to angel investors and other groups who aren't able to stump up the $200,000 or whatever it is to be a funding partner, but are keen to still invest and support the ecosystem. So there are other mechanisms that we're exploring. So if you're interested in investing in some of our Plus 8 companies as an investor, come talk to us. Yeah?
All right, probably time for a couple more.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. In the timeline, I think it was at the end of the first phase, you've got that you pitch to investors, I think from memory. I was curious.
This one?
Why is it sort of in the
This
middle?
one? Or that one?
Yeah,
This one?
the phases one. I think, yeah, so the end of the first phase, you pitch to investors. I'm curious why it's in the end of the first phase, not at the end of the second phase. And given that it's at the end of the first phase, what sort of state should the startups be at by the end of the first phase?
Yeah, so the program's designed, and certainly historically it's been designed where they are in two phases, and the people who get into the second phase are the ones who get the money, okay? So part of the first phase pitch is actually to see whether you qualify, you've done enough for us to justify putting you in front of investors. Having the investors basically put money in you. But basically, once you get into the second phase, you're guaranteed money, okay? So that was the previous threshold and the gate that you had to go through. We're probably going to modify that a little bit this year. So in the sense that if you get the first phase, that first phase pitch, if you get through, will dictate how much you get as a first tranche of your 50 or your 100,000 or whatever it is. The second tranche will probably come from the Austin trip. So we'll have a bunch of funding partners that will come. There'll be a VC that we'll be putting you in front of. And when you do your pitch there, however they rate you will be probably another tranche. And then the last tranche will come from demo night. So demo night is another opportunity to secure more money as part of your overall, right? So it's a slightly different way of doing it. We're going to play with it again, A/B test. It's all good, but that's the reason. Okay, so you won't get any money if you don't actually succeed in your pitch one in the phase one pitch. Okay.
And just on that, so I suppose, what stage would the startups be at by the end of the first phase? Are they revenue generating? What sort of stages?
It's up to the startup.
Okay.
I mean, part of our job is to try and get them as far in the program as possible. Obviously revenue is important, but as much traction as they can get, and prepare themselves for these pitches so that they can reflect their progress. And that's actually probably what the investors will look at as far as, if you've made progress, then it gives us more confidence that you know what you're doing and that we'll put money into you.
Gotcha. Thanks so much.
All right. Wait for the mic.
Maybe last question.
Yep.
Just for the pre-seed, do you need any qualification in the TRL level, like 5 or 4, or it means actually like a prototype with something like that you need, or just an idea is enough?
An idea is enough. I mean, obviously, people who have a little bit more validation are more likely to meet the criteria for you to push through. But right now, if you've got an incredible idea and you've got an incredible team, and you've done this all before, we'll go, okay, maybe. But that's why I encourage you, and maybe that's a good segue to the last slide, is that we do encourage everybody to put something in. If you've got any doubts as to whether you qualify or not, just put something in. It's going to be less than an hour of your time, and it could surprise you, right?
Yeah.
And as I said, I'm promising to give you some feedback, no matter what, constructive feedback, no matter where you end up in the process.
Yeah.
So feel free, right? So
we got a running prototype from simulation check.
Yeah, amazing.
All these things.
Yeah, amazing.
PhD guys in Toyota and all these things happen.
Great.
So it's
great.
Thank you.
And that suggests some traction that will probably push you ahead of others that might be just pure idea stage, right? That's cool. I think we've run out of time. Is that right?
Yeah, we're on 8:30, so we'll allow some networking time unless you've got anything else to...
No, look, I think it was more... Juliette, did you want to say anything, but you didn't have anything else to close? Look, this was really just to say, apply. We'll be very keen to see you. We want to, if you've got any questions, ping us. This is the QR code for applications. Applications are closing soon, though, so don't drag your heels. And hopefully we will see you around. I'll be at networking, and Juliette will be at networking if you want to catch up. Thanks for having us.
Thanks very much.
You're going to steal that one.
Thank you so much. Who's, show of hands, who's applying? All right,
Yay,
cool.
how exciting.
Results, awesome. Well, as we said, we're going to have half an hour of networking now. Don't be afraid when we throw furniture at you, because we're going to turn this back into a co-working space. If you want to get out of the heat, it's starting to cool down a bit. There might be some oxygen out there somewhere, so feel free. Help yourself to the food, thanks to Keep Space.
And the other thing is our toilets are still under renovation, so it's a bit of a mission. So if you go past the lovely beach and banner and down the corridor, you'll find toilets.
Let's go down there. Cool. And see you in 2 weeks' time for Kate Harris. Woo! All right. Thanks very much. Oh, hang on.
Oh.
There was just some important information up there about the ASIC tax incentive. If anyone has any questions, I am a tax accountant. And
hey! Most important person in the room.
Thanks, Drew. Take care.
Nice work, guys.